All right, so I'm just gonna make a quick training video. Me and Heather have been working on putting out some new needle thoracostomy kits. So just give you a little explanation about why we're doing what we're doing and then how we're gonna deploy these in the field. So first off, our old kits used to be in a big bag. We had a lot of extra equipment in there. We had iodine, alcohol, tape, the tubing, the one-way valve, along with multiple needles, 4x4s. So it was just a big package, and we kept it in the yellow box, which obviously isn't very convenient for day-to-day interactions with the public. So we're moving to simply one needle. It's everything in one that we need. You do not need to use iodine. So all we're gonna do is have an alcohol prep attached to these outside needles. And then for the other needles, we bought specifically a new one-way valve. So we no longer need the tubing and the large one-way valve that we were using before. It's a lot more affordable. We also now only have to worry about the expiration date on the needle itself. Before we had an expiration date on the kit, but there was multiple things that could expire, expensive to replace. So a lot more straightforward with everything. So to start off with the spear needle. So these are gonna be our go-to needles for needle thoracostomies for adults. So they're a 10 gauge needle. You can only use them for adults. The needle itself comes with a one-way valve attached to the end of it. The needle also, with the whole assembly, does allow for airflow, and when you actually have a pressurized chest, you'll hear a little whistle. So it actually gives you an indication when you are placing it in a pressurized space. You will place the needle just like you normally do, advance the catheter, discard the needle into a sharps container, and then the one-way valve just goes on top. So super simple, very compact. You no longer have the long tubing, another one-way valve that can get dislodged very easily. And then you can simply chevron this, or you can use the cap and attach this to the base of the needle and then tape this down as well, or to the catheter. So there's a few options there, but it's overall a lot simpler and gonna be better for deployment. So what we are gonna do is either have two of these needles with the alcohol prep in the blue bag, or we have our old needles still. These are the ones that are currently in the needle T kits. They're 14 gauges. In the policy, it talked about for peds, you need either a 14 to 16, and for adults using a 10 to a 14. However, these 14 gauges that we have in the kits are way too long. They are 3.25 inches, and the policy mentions that we are only supposed to be using a 3 centimeter length needle. So the pediatric needles that we're gonna be using are gonna be these. They're a lot shorter, as you can tell. And also in our kits right now, we do have a 16 gauge needle, but those are normal IV catheters. So they do not have, and they're the safety catheters, so they don't have a continuous opening to allow for easy airflow when you puncture through the pressurized chest wall. So these are gonna be for the pediatrics. These one-way valves that I purchased, they also fit on these catheters as well. So again, we no longer need to have the large tubing and the old large one-way valves. We're moving to these simple one-way valves. It's gonna be attached to both the pediatric needles and to the adult needles. So the way this kit will look, again, is either we're gonna have two adult needles. So the adult needle T kit can either be the new R's that has the one-way valve already attached to the needle, or we can still use the 14 gauges that are already in the kits. They're less preferable, obviously a smaller gauge needle, and then they need to have the one-way valve rubber band to it along with the alcohol prep. For the pediatrics, we're gonna have these needles. I'm gonna be sending it out at the end of this week, so you might not get it until the beginning of next week, but they're gonna be the angiocath 14 gauge needles, so a lot smaller, and they also need to have the one-way valve attached to it. We're gonna have two of these in the pediatric bag, so that way you know, when you open the pediatric bag, you have what you need to do a needle T in that bag. So for patients that are 40 kilograms and less, they need to have this smaller needle. So around 88 pounds or less, you need to get the pediatric bag for a needle T and use these needles. Either one of these will be used for adults over 88 pounds. So please send back the old needle T kits to Medem at Station 1, and I will be sending out some one-way valves and some needles. Any extra needles, please send back to me as well. But we need 2, so either 1 and 1, 2 of these, 2 of these. We just need 2 adults in the blue bag. We're gonna place them where the TXA is in the blue bag in the clear pocket in the front, and then 2 of these in the pediatric bag. And that should be it. So thanks for watching, and feel free to hit me up with any questions you have.